as we kick off yet another amazing week of 2020 here at Unblinded together. And we've been going at it. We've been going at it for about 2-3 hours already. Momentum is present. Mergers are happening. So many of us on this call are co-creating and just, putting amazing things together in this world of Unblinded. And I'm looking forward to kicking off this week. We have an amazing guest coming up, so hang out with us as Mr. Calgi will be jumping in just a few moments, to get this party started. But for all of you, welcome. Hello. I see a lot of you saying hello to each other in the chat. How was your weekend? What magic did you experience? And what are you focused on as we step into another week here? Where are we looking to master? And Tony Rodriguez has only 46 days left of 2020. Wow, that totally puts it into perspective. So with 46 days left, what are we committing to the rise of our money, time, and magic? How are we committing to rise that money, time, and magic? So for all of us, let's just get active in the chat. How was your weekend? Let's drop some magic in there. Let's talk about the areas of mastery that we're looking to connect in. And a big thank you, to everyone on our mastery call, bringing that energy to start this week. So as we step into Ecosystem Merger Mastery Monday, I'm present to the power of creating your own speaking platform. And now, listen, we say that often. We talk about it a lot. It's one of the, I would say, maybe top 3 outcomes of your rise and your mastery. In the formula, at least for now, it is the creation of your own speaking platform. And a beautiful distinction that became present in constant innovation was the difference between your Real Raw Open and your own speaking platform. So let's hop into that, momentarily. And Adam Gugino, I'd love some caller commentary as we let you, jump on the call and catch up for a second. So for everyone, when your Real Raw Open is your own speaking platform. It's one of your own speaking platforms, and it's a filtration device for you to connect with multiple people at a high level while bringing vulnerability and many other different dynamics all at once. The greatest experiential hack in marketing, sales, and training ever.
Accelerant and filtration.
It's an accelerant and a filtration system for your ecosystem mergers, your relationships, and all. Thank you, Adam Gugino, for jumping into that. And then a distinction here is how your Real Raw Open is one of your speaking platforms. The goal is to leverage the Real Raw Open to then create other speaking platforms with other people, AKA other people equaling your ideal avatar. So Adam Gugino, when we're here at Unblinded saying, hey, the goal is to create your own platform, your own speaking platform, what say you to that statement?
Tiffany Armstrong speaking in front of the BNI group from a Real Raw Open.
Actually, I love this example. Thank you. Do you mind sharing how that happened?
Well, I think we did it last week. Either way, I'll share it again. Absolutely. And it came from, I think she was introduced to this gentleman, Ray, from a 10 by 10. And from there, she had invited him onto her Real Raw Open. And he was a leader in BNI. I think was, what is the title, Fernando? Just so I'm accurate. I'm
going to go with president, yeah.
President of a chapter, maybe.
Correct.
I think that's president of a chapter. He was curious. He was excited to learn more. And through the alignment phone call, I was able to open up his listening to the bigger picture of what this all looked like. And then I've scheduled a strategy session with you, my friend. And I think there was a lot that came out of that. And from there, he wanted to continue to merge and reach back out to Tiffany and invited her to speak in front of his chapter of 50 to 60 people which then created many more opportunities for Tiffany to invite more people to the Real Raw Open. I don't think I missed anything, but
no, you didn't. And you know what? Let me just keep speaking into that for a moment. So Adam, why didn't Tiffany just invite Ray to her podcast?
Well, because Tiffany knew that the outcome for the best outcome for Ray would be for him to understand what was happening here for a possible ecosystem merger. And if he would have been just, invited to a podcast, I don't know if he would have been, or let's speak into it directly. He would not have been as open to inviting her to her group or understood the magnitude of what is happening here if he would have just been, invited And would he have even have come is the other question.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's one level deeper, and then maybe we'll pivot, maybe we'll not. But why? Why would that have not happened if it was an invitation to a podcast?
He had his level of knowingness around networking and what he had been able to build and create within that group was at a high nines. So it took the filtration and accelerant of the real raw to open up his listening and create a scotoma where he wanted to begin to understand how this could help him reach his goals that he thought he was already on track for. But I think you created some understanding how, even though he was doing, phenomenal, that this could, accelerate that at an exponential rate.
Yeah, and for everyone to add, some colorful language, Ray's responsibility as president of a chamber of a BNI is to help his members make money, time, and magic. And his responsibility is for more members, more money, and more engagement. And Tiffany did an amazing job of displaying how incredible of a work they've done and what are some possible opportunities with what some of the dynamics and protocols that we've created here. Remember, anyone that you believe will create money, time, and magic for you, there's gravitational pull. Like, think of anyone you want to talk to, interview, be around, boom, 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 bam, bam, bam. Like, at some level, there's like, there's a potential for money, time, and magic. Whether you're living in the world of referrals, like, yeah, I can email his list. He knows a lot of people. You're living in that land. That's still incredible. There's an attraction to individuals that can help you rise in your money, time, and magic. And what the Real Raw Open creates is that access. Many, but let's focus on that one specifically, your identity as someone that can help other people make more money, time, and magic begins to rise. And Adam Gugino, why does that happen? Like, for example, when you're having a podcast and you're having an interview, for some part, you don't even jump into business development conversations, maybe. But why does your identity rise as someone that can help other people make money, time, and magic when you run the Real Raw Open effectively?
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because I'm laughing. There was for about 3 seconds when I spoke to Tiffany. I love her. She's doing an amazing job. And I thought for like 3 seconds, wait, he spoke to you and me, Fernando, and he didn't invite us to go speak at this.
What the heck?
BNI. Like, what the heck? He invited Tiffany, which is amazing. I'm so happy because we wouldn't have had time to go. But, yeah. So that's to your point. She ran the Real Raw. She invited him. He saw who was actually leading in those scenarios. Yeah, we may have, been able to accelerate that through our conversations and calls. But yeah, Tiffany was the one he wanted to go speak. So there you go.
Yeah. And boom, actually, that's perfect. I didn't even mean to set it up that way. So thank you, Gugino, for taking that frame home. Is Tiffany's identity was the one that was risen. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's what we want. We want individuals not only like inviting you to be part of their speaking platform, like this example, we also want them to be part of yours. And that's the goal here. The goal is not for them to be part of Unblinded's. The goal is for them to be part of yours. And we're blessed to be formulating agreements and merging everywhere where it's ours. And we're creating stages all over the place, all over the world, all different time zones. And that's the magic of what this looks like. So on Ecosystem Merging Mastery Monday, how are you committed? What are you committed to doing? And let's drop it in the chat for the creation of your own speaking platform. What are you committed to for the rise of your own speaking platform? As Michael Smikin said, his goal is to every day call 3 of his ideal avatars, whatever they are. And I know what they are. And if you're in the legal profession, I'm sure you know what they are too. So that's one outcome for Michael Smikin, is the commitment to every day call at least 3 of his ideal avatars to invite them on his fit to exit Real Raw Open. That's an amazing outcome, a beautiful lead and lag measure that's going to lead to some amazing results. So for everyone in the chat, what is your commitment? What is your commitment to your platform on this Ecosystem Merging Mastery Monday? And I hear a breathing in the distance. Mr. Callaghan, is that you?
It is, Fernando. That is creepy that you hear my breathing in the distance, but that's okay.
I'm practicing my Jedi power, so.
That is awesome. So, hey, good morning to everybody, and super grateful as we start this ecosystem merger and Mastery Monday. Much is happening, and wherever you fall on the what is COVID and what does it mean scale, it seems that there's definitely more people testing positive, and just want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers for sure. And Sharon Stecker from Elite has been going down the journey, and she and I had our one-on-one session a couple of days ago, and she was certainly appreciative of love, care, and support. So if we could share that in the Elite chat for sure, and just keep Sharon in your thoughts and prayers. And then my dad, who is 75 and has just began treatment for prostate cancer. He and my stepmother were diagnosed with corona over the weekend. And, my prayer for my dad would be to just keep a positive mindset. I think he has been very integrated into the world of news watching and heavy levels of fear. And so my hope and belief is that in prayer would be for some peace on that front, and for prayers. And I am choosing to believe that he's going to be fine. He's had a fever for about 4 or 5 days now, so he's got meaningful symptoms for sure. So keeping that in your thoughts and prayers would be greatly appreciated. A lot of what we have here in the more adventurous and disruptive side of things, from scuba diving to skiing to unconventional thought processes, were rooted in a lot of the things that I learned from my dad. My dad certainly has lived a very unconventional life, and I'm grateful. Taught me to scuba dive at 13, which is a very unique thing. Grew up in a very difficult environment in the inner city of Jersey City. Jersey City was a tough place to begin with, and he grew up in the toughest parts of Jersey City. So, love my dad very much, and, thoughts and prayers to him, and to John Kelly today. So many of you know John as we jokingly say, the Alfred of our world here at Unblinded. If we're having a little fun and referring to me as Batman, John and I have talked that way for a long time. And John lost his dad last week on Friday, and those services are this morning. So I may have to move 1 or 2 sessions today. But John has been an incredible person, not only to me, but to the Unblinded movement. And he was there before it was called Unblinded, in the space of the Tony Robbins world. And, we've discussed some of those events when I had an innovation session going back in time. And John was there transporting the different people around. And that's when I first connected with Chris Crone and Trillions and some of those fine folks. John was integrally involved in a lot of the movements around those dynamics. And he's just been everywhere and been amazing. And he is the most selfless, supportive, contributing person, as supportive, as selfless as anybody I've ever met. And he would also, in Elite, and even on the Unblinded pages, if we could, give John some love and support for the loss of his dad. His dad's name was John Kelly as well. So he's John Kelly. His dad was John Kelly. So, and for anybody else that's suffering with somebody that they love or care about in some way, our thoughts and prayers go out to them as well. And taking it away further, actually, my ex-wife, my second wife, and her children, my stepchildren, all have corona as well. So it's an interesting time for sure. So I just want to really connect to those dynamics and realities. And, I offer the possibility that our mind has an immense amount to do with our physical healing, our physical bodies. And so I'm present to that confidence and belief structure as well. So, and whether for you that be positive intention and or prayer, whatever that would be, let's put it out there for people and for our nation. and for healing and for everything that is still present and happening right now in this world. So I'm immensely grateful for that. And then I think, Fernando, for today, I think we're going to bring up Elle Anderson as well. Is that correct, Fernando?
And yeah, she is here. She is just muted at the moment, and we'll unmute in just a few.
Okay. Anything else you want to share, or Adam?
No, I believe we're good. And Elle Anderson, I just heard you unmute. So hello, lady of landscaping, the Warren Buffett of Unblinded. How are you?
Hello, welcome. Good morning.
Yes, the Warren Buffett, but not the Gordon Gekko of Unblinded. How are you, Elle Anderson? Okay.
I am doing fantastic. So glad to be here. Sorry to hear about all of the corona incidences. As some of you may remember, I had it back in March and April, and I didn't have to go to the hospital or anything, but it certainly was not fun, and I don't recommend it. But most, as you guys know, most people do pull through it without any further complications, which I did, luckily. I do have to say that if you were going to quarantine in your house, do it first so you get the master bedroom, unlike me, who might first. And so I was stuck in the guest room.
Elle, the first lady of landscaping, is stuck in the guest bedroom. That doesn't sound appropriate.
It was terrible.
So listen, Elle, thank you for that. Thank you for your energy, your support, your love, and your example. A big part of what we can contribute here in the Unblinded ecosystem is our example. And you just stand for execution. You stand for implementation. And I think a lot of times, this really came very present for me this weekend in a number of different thoughts and conversations, coming off of the trip to Arizona, and is who we have proximity to and what that mindset is that it is instilling in us. We are the average in our money, our thoughts, our philosophies, our actions are the 5 closest people to us. Like, that is truly, I believe, what we're the average of, and so the reason that teams win, sports programs win, is because we have proximity to coaches repeatedly. The reason that, the Emerson plays where my kids go, they've done such an incredible job, is because it's the same people that are running them year in and year out. The kids change, the people stay the same, and then you have proximity to that leadership, and it causes things, and so as you think about who do you talk to most, sometimes, and this will go into, I watched The Social Dilemma over the weekend again, and it was extraordinary. And what Facebook and Google and these platforms are doing is, if they are reinforcing what you believe already. So if you live in certain regions or areas and have certain predispositions that you've demonstrated online already, it's going to give you confirming articles and stories about the things you already believe. What you might believe about climate, what you might believe about division, what you might believe about the left or the right. Like, you're going to get confirmation bias coming your way, right? And so that's a longer story for a different session. But how that applies also is it's often what we do in our life. And just for a second, think about the 5 people you talk to the most often. Like, think of the 5 people you talk to the most often, and whether or not your money, your relationships, your actions, your thoughts, your beliefs, limiting and empowering, your application, your mastering the formula, your doubts, your certainties, like your connection, love, your growth, how correlated it is to those 5 people. And I'm going to hallucinate that the correlation is very high. So one of the reasons that I go to Tony Robbins events and do things that I do like that is I'm creating proximity. And whether I have it direct, indirect, or quasi-direct, in all of these settings, I'm creating proximity to him and his model and people like that to create acceleration. So, Elle, if you could speak into some of these issues and these dynamics, I'd be, if you could speak into these issues.
Well, absolutely. First, I would say that I don't know what it was like at Columbia, but at Cornell, we were taught to be independent thinkers. And that to me is key. Like, I'm just interested in the facts. And unfortunately, our news is no longer on either side really based in fact. I think the BBC is definitely the closest, but the American channels are very swayed, unfortunately. And, I can talk, I'm independent, I talk to people on both sides, and most of my team is very one-sided, but I can say good things about both sides. And it's just important to really cultivate that open-mindedness. Just because someone does something you don't like doesn't mean everything they do is bad. And really look at the facts. And I think very, very few people do that. And I think that's really, really needed in this country.
Yeah. And I think, Elle and everybody, I think the issue, thank you for that, Elle, that I'm really, speaking into on this Mastery Monday and Ecosystem Merger Monday is, who do you have proximity to? As Elle just said, whether it be through what you're listening to, my advice to my dad is just, please stop watching the news. Just stop watching the news. It is just, it is not the news. Like, there is no longer the news. What it is an entertainment dynamic designed, it's a drama. It's a drama entertainment dynamic that is designed to hook your eyeballs and to keep you watching. And if you haven't seen The Social Dilemma, and I don't often offer, very seldomly do I tell you to watch something, watch The Social Dilemma, for the level at which our mindsets and brains are being addicted and conditioned to drama, addicted and conditioned to the things they want to hear to create strife. So our eyeballs are on there so they could tell advertisers to pay money, right? Because the advertisers are happy because there's eyeballs and attention. And how deeply twisted and rooted. And these are people that work for Facebook, work for Google, work for Instagram. And this is why, like, in all sincerity, or just openness, this wasn't my dream 3 months ago. It is now, that I want to see proximity become the social media platform that displaces these social media platforms. And I wasn't thinking that way before. And it wasn't even originally designed to be a social platform. I spoke with our CEO yesterday. I said, we need to be the answer to this. And if ultimately it's not proximity that wins that race, I don't even care. But we need to create a dynamic where we're moving down the pathway of challenging and changing behavior. And regardless, and we're making a commitment that we'll never, ever be collecting data for advertisers. And that what we're there for is to create a place where people have frictionless access to their relationship capital with integrous dynamics, not dynamics designed to manipulate people, to harm people. So this is like we're standing for the world, and we can't do that in a second. But we can do in a second is we can make decisions on our boundaries around what comes into our head, what comes in informationally. And if people can't respect our boundaries, how we create boundaries with them so that you're seeking truth, you're building ecosystem capital, and we're not creating the delusion for ourselves that by hating things and being against and judging people, blaming, judging, like, I know people who think they have corona because of, like, Republicans. Like, and if that's what you believe, like, that's interesting, right? And you go, well, it wouldn't be this bad. It's not this bad in certain other countries. Okay, understood. But how there's like a million different dynamics that have been at play this entire scenario from the beginning, and to blame and judge others, just like if you're going to sit here and say, well, the reason that my cousin got killed in the inner city, I've heard people say things like this, is because Democrats have been in control for 100 years, and all they do is manipulate and harm people who are disenfranchised, right? And so I don't believe that either, right? And so, these concepts of global blame and division create so much harm. So Al, if you could speak into what you believe in the world and what you're doing in the world right now as it relates to your own mindset and who you're creating proximity with and why, like how you're approaching all these things. Like on a personal human level. Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, I listen to both sides because I have many people close to me that are very on one side or the other. And I just try to open up their listening to the other side. Not always successful, but I try to do that. And, oftentimes they feel like, oh, well, you're on that side. No, I'm not. Well, you're on that side. No, I'm not. I'm independent and I think independently. That doesn't mean I don't like some of what this person does or some of what that person does or that political entity. So me, I try to surround myself with people that are more successful than I am. Back when I had no money, I had to do that with books. And I surrounded myself with books and audio books, even books on tape. Don't think that I'm old though, people. That's how, when I couldn't afford to do it otherwise or didn't know anyone, that's how I did it. And so I purposely try to surround myself with people that are more successful and constantly looking for new and innovative ways that I can expand my relationship capital and my net worth.
Awesome. And Al and everybody, our self-mastery is precious. Like people wear masks to protect themselves from corona, right? And that's certainly, well, people could argue about the effectiveness or not of that, but let's presume it is effective for the sake of this conversation. I recommend wearing masks around you in terms of negative energy, in terms of ignorance, in terms of fear, in terms of blame, in terms of judgment, in terms of distortion, because it is challenging enough to deal with your own fears. And if you have people who are feeding into them, who are slowing your action steps, who are causing doubt in you, look at their life and just ask yourself one question: do I want their life? And if you don't want their life, then don't accept their thoughts. Don't accept their dynamics into you. And shield yourself. I will not participate in conversations that are rooted, and I don't care if it's like Joe Biden is or Donald Trump is, like, I'm not having the conversation. I'm just not having the conversation. If you want to talk about, hey, what we might do collectively, globally, you want to change the next political election in a more meaningful way, then build your 10 by 10. Build your real raw. And I'm not kidding. Because the way that you gain the ability to make things happen on a larger scale isn't by complaining with your 4 friends. It's by actually creating higher and higher levels of influence and impact. If you care enough to want to make change, right? So Al, as we share this, how are you? Where are you? How are things going for Unblinded Partners? Anything you want to share as we get ready to take it home in this ecosystem merger Monday?
Yes. Things are going extremely well with Unblinded Partners. I'm actually writing a book to create more stages for myself. And
amazing.
Partners, yes. I think the title is going to be "Monetize the Shit Out of Your Business."
That is awesome, Al. That is awesome.
For fun, I've challenged myself to kind of based on one of our private conversations, Sean, on some big retail and how to change them. So I'm looking for like Macy's or JCPenney to come to us, to Unblinded Partners, because I'm very excited and I know I can turn that ship around. So
yeah. Look at Elle Anderson, changing retail. Yeah, Elle, I would like you to save the mall, Promise Park, right by our office. I have been going there since I'm a kid, and it's one of the happiest places for me in the world. I love being in like big open space like that and being sort of anonymously drifting about. So yes, if you could save that and help that would be amazing. And Elle, tonight, and everybody, we're going to be doing What is Unblinded and Why Real Raw. And I want to very excitedly announce that, of course, we've innovated already. And what's going to be happening there is that's going to become our very, very powerful, one of our very, very powerful speaking platforms. And originally it was going to be designed in a way to just introduce people to what we're doing and why we're wrong, and not really be for everybody. But we're already innovating off of that. So Elle, if you're available, if you're not, I understand. They're going to have Rob, Michael, and we're going to launch. And soon, within months, we're going to be having some of the biggest names in the world. And that's going to be our platform. And we're not going to be like, it's not going to become a 1, 2, 3, 4 person podcast. It's going to be a disruptive introduction to the formula where we're going to help people see what they don't see about how to create more money, time, and magic, no matter what scale and level they're at in the world. From leading attorneys, authors, coaches, speakers, people. And I'm putting an intention in the ground that, 90 days out, we'll be having huge name people of all sorts. And the outcome will be by the end, again, to help them understand the prism of the formula, to understand how to create more of something that they don't quite have yet. And it's going to be essentially an individual and group coaching session for some of the most successful people imaginable to open up their listening, understanding, and endorsement of Unblinded through, like the way the Real Raw is a Hello to Yes influencing dynamic challenge. This What is Unblinded and Why Real Raw session on Monday night is going to be a disruption for them about the overall formula. And so that begins, and tonight is going to be the inaugural dynamic with some of our wonderful elite and partners and friends like Elle, Rob, Michael, and then we're going to take it from there. So Elle, how does that sound to you?
That sounds fantastic. I'm really excited. I did get the text, so I will be there. It's at 7. Is that correct, Eastern?
That is correct. 7 Eastern every Monday night. And it's going to be, and that will probably turn into a multi-purpose thing, including a podcast, et cetera, because we're launching the Unblinded podcast shortly. And, but, when I say podcast, this is not your grandmother or grandfather's podcast. LOL, wink, wink. This is going to be innovative and disruptive. This is not going to be a one-on-one interview and be like, oh, wow, you're amazing. Oh, wow, that's interesting. It is going to be disruptive on the formula with incredible people. So, and that's where we're going. So, Al, any final today?
Real quick, who said they don't like Mondays? Monday has now just become my favorite day of the week.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take it home.
And you could start writing down your super guest list and putting it in the chats and putting it in places. And we are going to be reaching out, and these amazing people are going to be saying yes in every walk of life. So that process is already underway. And it's going to be mind-blowing what these Mondays turn into in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And here we come for the good of people, the good of everybody, and the truth. And I'm putting the flag in the ground, the intention that we are going to have a massive impact on the next election in 4 years. And in that next election, we're going to make sure it does not look or feel like this. And the people who are causing it to look and feel like this are going to be exposed. Everybody on every side who is distorting, disrupting. These next 4 years are going to be quite interesting and a lot of fun. And at whatever level you want to join us on that journey, you're welcome. And if you just want to be watching this like you're watching a reality show, I promise this, you will not be bored. It'll be a lot more positive. It'll be a lot more positive than any other reality show you're watching, because we are going to create one dynamic MFing reality show over the course of time as forces for good, as leaders leading leaders, unlike anything you've seen. Because normally when people are like, you know what, I'm going to just go with this, and I'm not turning this into, anything spiritual. It's not spiritual. Everybody's doing spirituality. But I was reading Matthew in the Gospels yesterday, and it talked about 2 different dynamics. One, to be wise as a serpent, and to be harmless as a dove. to be wise as a serpent and to be harmless as a dove. And Matthew 11:12 says, and treat it as a personal development book if you like, or treat it as, something more if you like. But it said that violent men, since the days of John the Baptist, from the days of John the Baptist, heaven has suffered violence, and violent men take heaven. And we don't mean violent like physically harming people, but in my mind, it means lightning bolts and disruption to cause things. And if you're not willing, like Malcolm X, to speak into truth, to open listening, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, people who have leaned in and spoken into truth, open listening, coaches, people. And one more thing, I'm not an advocate for disrespect. I'm not an advocate for cruelty, but I am an advocate for matching and mirroring. And what I taught Michael Smykin to do from day one is if somebody pulls a knife on you, pull a gun. Somebody pulls a gun, you pull a machine gun. Someone pulls a machine gun, pull a bazooka. They pull a bazooka, you pull, a fighter bomber. A fighter bomber comes on you, then drop a nuke. And so matching and mirroring means in the source of aggression coming at you, receiving the aggression and upping it until disruption, until openness. So during those big trials that I had to do a lot of very intense things to bring about truth. And at the same time, every morning I prayed every morning for the adversaries, for them to stop and come to truth. So sometimes I think people who are not used to any degree of competition and conflict, who are not used to competition and conflict, are not quite sure how to interpret these statements about lightning bolts and Zeus energy. And it's not about hating people, it's not about harming people, but it is about opening and listening for truth. And so that's it. And Al, I think you are a beautiful example of that. You are loving, you are clear, but you're also like stepping into it and leading in truth. And so I honor you. I appreciate you as a friend, as a partner, and love you very much. So thank you, Elle Anderson, for being here today.
Thanks, John. I really appreciate that. I am very honored to have this opportunity to help people with their businesses grow exponentially in Unblinded Partners. And I'm really excited for all these new opportunities. And we've got a couple big ones coming down the pike, and I'm ready for the ride.
All right. Well, let's go do it. AG, Fernando, any need for a final?
I'm complete
for
with
any
Love and
final
Mondays.
today.
All right. Love you guys. Let's have a great day, everybody. Be in your heart, love people unconditionally, and make things happen. Just be in your time blocking and have fun. Enjoy every conversation. Be present for people. Be in your heart and protect yourself from fear and distortion. Protect yourself and crush it if need be with firm boundaries.